YouTube, it's Muse, and we're back with another off-meta. This is one I've been asked for quite a bit, and it is going to be the Munchen. And what the Munchen is a York hull with Weimar guns, but not as many guns as Weimar. Basically, this thing is a baby Weimar. And it fits more at tier 6 than Weimar did at tier 6. So the main differences between the Munchen and Weimar are the Weimar had one more gun per turret. So this ship has a total of 8 guns when it's broadside, and the Weimar has 12. That gives you a lot more chance for fire on the Weimar. It gives you a lot more DPM. It's an extra 4 shells a salvo, which the reload on these things is pretty gross. And then the other big difference is going to be your torp racks. Weimar gets 2 racks per side for a total of 4. This thing gets 1 rack per side for a total of 8. Well, 2 racks. I said 4 for Weimar, so we just want to keep it even. So that's the big differences. Other than that, they're both York hulls. When Weimar went to 7, it got a heal, which Munchen does not get at tier 6, and Weimar didn't have one at tier 6 either. So they still play very similar. It just doesn't hop the DPM Weimar does, and that means it can't get itself out of situations that the Weimar was able to get out of just through pure DPM. An example of that is if a battleship comes off a corner on you, unless you can get a turn off, you're only going to be able to get 1 rack of torps off, and that's not going to be very helpful for, dev striking a full health battleship out of the game, and you're probably going to get deleted. Whereas Weimar, when a battleship came off a corner like that, you could dump 2 racks on them, and then if you were able to make a turn, instead of just getting your second rack, you would literally be able to get 2 more racks. That makes a huge difference on ambushing a battleship on the corner like that, because when you have to turn to fire that second rack, that gives the battleship time to turn into you, and you're probably not going to get a full broadside, meaning you're only probably going to catch like 1 torp off that second rack. Whereas when you can fire 2 racks immediately, you can literally put all of them broadside into a battleship and just dev strike it right on that corner. And that gives Weimar such an advantage. It's just kind of sickening. But Munchen is still a good ship, baby Weimar, so let's get into it. So in our build, we're going to be using main battery mod in the first slot, propulsion mod in the second, and we're going to do some concealment in that third spot. That's the way I have it set up. And then we're going to run the sonar with that 5.4 nice German sonar that comes in quite handy. So for stats, your survivability, 30,000 hit points like Weimar. You're running 150mm guns, and again, you have 8 of them. Torpedoes, the biggest thing to note on the torpedoes is going to be that range. It's only 6 kilometers, so like mid-range torps. AA defense is not so hot, so don't count on too much AA. Your maneuverability, this is a agility stealth build. So mine's going to be a little more than what you would have with a gun build. And then concealment, I have it down to 9.6, which on a Weimar or Munchen is pretty damn good because they're normally up around 12 or 13. Just a quick look at the armor. Again, it's a York hull. York hull at tier 6 is fairly decent. It's not the tankiest thing, but it's not god-awful either. When you take it on Weimar at tier 7, it is not ideal for tier 7. Here I can actually kind of tank like tier 6s, especially if I get in a tier 5 match. I can definitely tank some tier 5s. Tier 7's not a thing you want to be trying to tank with a York hull. So, Admiral GRAF SPEE, like I said, it's a stealth agility build, so the base perk is going to be HP repair, which we don't have a repair, so that does us no good. We have Makawa with cruiser detectability, and then Mbeli with reload time. So we're adding to the sneakiness. You'll see where I get more of it in a second. So we have Beyond Range for our main battery range. We want to be able to reach out. We have Ghost, which gives us lower detectability again. So that combined with Makawa is what gives us our 9.6. And then we have Voluptuous with maximum movement speed. So we're again going for, you know, stealth and agility here. Then we have Steer Clear with our rudder shift time. And then we have Refill Station. So that's going to be the build we're running on it. You could also run gun build on it. I don't personally prefer my Weimar. I run this GRAF SPEE build. That's what I prefer, is the stealthy agility on these ships. If you're gonna play a pure gun build, pretty much gotta do the island hiding thing and just lob and burn battleships from behind islands. Your detection is so high, it's really hard to be out in open water because you're just spotted from miles away, and usually you get focused. So this first game, nothing amazing no, as far as damage, all that good stuff. Just a good kind of showcase of what you want to do with a Munchen. So we have no DD this side, so we want to kind of be the eyes for these battleships behind us. So we spotted Nevada, and they must have failed dived, because that's, what, a tier 4? That's a tier 4, right? Yeah, I'm not losing it. Okay, so that must have been a fail div. I didn't even check that. But we see he's going behind the island. We see some smoke out there, so we know there's a DD right here. There's New Mexico as well. So I'm gonna make kind of a risky play and a gamble here. But I'm a very seasoned player of York, Weimar, all of these guys. I do get this Fubuki on sonar. So I know he just kind of popped that smoke recently, so I'm kind of hoping I can get him out of here and use that smoke to get spun around before that New Mexico back there puts a big smacking on me. Now I'm also cognizant of what's over here on my right side. We're going to have that Nevada coming out from behind the island in a second, should he choose to do that. We do have a cruiser lingering over on this right side. Now, unfortunately, we're going to take a little bit of a touching, but then we're going to kind of preserve our health after that. So there we go, first blood. Fubuki's out of here. That is a huge threat to the battleships. So that was huge. We're going to go ahead and swipe his smoke to get a turn off here. And it's this cruiser behind me at this point that's got me spotted, so I'm going to tell these battleships, like, hey, please get this dude out of here. I do go dark here, but I want to come back out of it, and I want to get turned so that I'm vertical to these battleships and not sitting there waiting to get depth struck. Which means I'm going to get spotted again by this cruiser. So this is where I'm, like, telling these battleships, hey, can you get this dude out of here? Please. I'm gonna go ahead and open up on him. I just want him gone. They knock him out. Awesome. Thank you. So now we're on this Nevada. Finishing off capping here. Don't want to quite open up yet, but we're gonna. I saw him fire, so I know it's 30 seconds. I only got 15 seconds to cap, so there's nothing he can do to decap me at this point. Back down here to the bottom of the cap, or the top if you're looking at the mini-map. Back to our side is basically what I was trying to say. So really what you want to do with the Munchen, torps are for ambushing. Basically, you know, if somebody's YOLOing a corner and you happen to be right there, because the range on them is just not good enough to really do a whole lot else with. Maybe torps and DD smoke or something like that if you're right on top of it. So really gonna come down to the guns. Same playstyle as Weimar. lobbing, using islands as effectively as possible. My build does allow me to get away with a little bit extra kind of stuff. I can play with people's shots a little more. The range is fairly similar, so you got that long range, especially at this tier. That's fairly long range for a cruiser to be able to reach out to like 17k. So we're just making use of cover, just like Weimar. Lobbing and just taking advantage of that DPM. Now, you do get, like I said, you get one less projectile per turret. So you're missing a total of 4 projectiles that Weimar would have per salvo. But you still have a fairly high DPM rate, and you can see me just laying it on this New Mexico here, lighting him on fire, doing that HE damage. And because you have that low reload of those 150s, you can just lay it on there. And you can see how effective this ship is at the tier. So imagine adding 1 more projectile per turret and then putting it in this tier. Like, these ships, this tier 5 and the tier 6, or the tier 4 Nevada, they were going up against that thing, Weimar, with you know, 12 HE rounds, 12 AP rounds. Like, it was just, Weimar was so broken at this tier, and this is a more balanced, this ship is fair to other people. You know, everyone thinks, because, like, once Weimar came out, nobody wanted to play Munchen. So it's kind of cool that Weimar's gone to tier 7, because now the Munchen is a viable option again at tier 6. It's still off meta, you don't see a whole ton of them. And I don't think a lot of people realize it's a Weimar with, you know, slightly less DPM. And considering Weimar's at tier 7 now, this is a very viable ship at this tier. It still puts out a lot of DPM, especially fires. You know, it is 2 projectiles per turret. So with the rear guns, you know, when you're having to run away, you're still firing like 4 rounds every 5 seconds. Which is more than enough to do fires on BBs. The next fight we feature, we're going to get into, you'll see a little more of the AP side of it. And again, keep in mind, this is not a gun build. This is a stealth agility build, which is kind of like my preferred builds. I do run gun builds, but I don't feel they're as effective, as there's other things that can contribute to you being more effective in a fight. Like being 9/6 concealment in these ships is so gold. It's not even funny. Compared to 12, 13, like, who wants to be spotted at 13 kilometers? Like, so this New Mexico thought he could run from us. We say no. We are here at Bravo to meet you. And really, this was just a good game on the whole team's part, which is why we only have 50k damage, and that came mostly off that Charlie cap. Everything else, by the time we got out here to Bravo, is gone off the map. Our team did a very effective job of clearing this map. So, there is the first Munchen game, and again, that demonstrated a lot of, like, that HE, the lobbing, the sonar. For me, taking advantage of the stealth and agility. So there's a scoreboard for you, and then we can move into this next game. How about that? So unfortunately, you know, there it is, second on the team. Just being effective. So unfortunately, as I was just saying, in this fight, we're gonna die. but we do some playmaking that really changes the game and changes the balance of the game and lets the rest of our team capitalize, ending up getting us a win. So we're gonna start here on this outside. And I don't want to go outside of Alpha because I know kind of the way the map is shaped. There's probably a BB heading around there. There may be a cruiser going with them, and God knows what else. So I don't want to run into that by myself or with just one other ship. So we're going to kind of linger here in this mid and try to get a sense of the map and the layout and what exactly we can do from here. I do want to try and keep control of this mid at least, knowing that, you know, potentially if they are going around Alpha, that really they're going to be able to capture Alpha, and there's not much we can do about that. So keeping control of Bravo is vital if we're just going to give up Alpha like that. But with only 2 ships and that being our weak side, I really don't feel comfortable going out there like that, just to get deleted. And if I get deleted, you know, I'd rather put some work in first. Try to leave my team in the best shape possible. So carrier's gonna show up, fly his planes over us. I'm gonna move out just because the fact this carrier spots me, and I know there's BBs lingering out there that I can't see, and I don't feel like getting dev struck. So we're just gonna push back behind this island for now. Again, try to get a sense of what's going on here, how this is developing. So we see as King George, there's a little gap here. We're gonna do our lobby lob thing and just lob through this gap. And this is really not where I wanna be the whole match. I don't wanna play this lobby lob the whole match. Like, I know, I understand we're like badly staffed over on this side, so I need to be more effective than just sitting there lobbing. I need to actually have some aggression, and having the playtime I do in, you know, my 4 different York class ships, which is, you know, Weimar, Munchen, Crossadorn, and the York, got a lot of playtime in those 4 ships. So having that playtime, having that experience, I have a good idea of what I can get away with, what I can't. So I wanna kind of turn around. Again, I need to affect this Alpha side of the map. Even if it's just here at Bravo, I need to affect that side. I need to make some kind of difference over there. As you can see, our entire team went to Charlie. Why am I going to add to that and just dogpile and go into Charlie? I'm not. I'm going to go to Alpha. So, Munchen, again, baby Weimar. Pretty much play it the same. If you have Weimar, then you know how Munchen is played. If you don't have Weimar, think of a York, but with smaller, faster guns, higher DPM than York. York has a higher alpha, as far as, you know, it can really hit very hard. Munchen and Weimar are going to be very rapid cycling guns. Smaller caliber, mostly good for setting fires, spamming HE, but the AP on it also is not too shabby, and we're not running a Riggerwald build here, we're not running a gun build, so we really have no perks adding to our gun or our AP, and you're still going to see what this AP is capable of here. We're going to end up using it here in a second. So I see this nicey pushed in. I know this is not the best play, but I'm like, okay, I need to come up here and help him. I see the cruiser that had gone through Alpha, so I want to cut him off. I also want to get to this DD if I can. Friesland is their only DD. It's a carrier game, so he's a double threat. Not only is he, you know, dangerous with his main guns to battleships as far as burning them down, he's dangerous to our carrier because he's got disgusting AA, and this is a carrier match. So Normally, you know, Friesland's not the biggest threat in the world because it doesn't have torps, but in this match it is a very horrible threat, and it needs to go. So this Mayoko is going to come out of Alpha, and we kind of snuck up this side, so... really close. He got thirsty for a torp run on that BB, and he's going to end up paying for that. So at this moment we had to let that Friesland go for a second. We're on this Mayoko. I was possibly concerned about another battleship back in Alpha, but I can see where he is, and he's gone well past Alpha, so... I know there's nothing waiting for me in Alpha, and I can actually go by that. There you go, 3 Citadels off 4 rounds. 2 more. And this AP just absolutely punches the crap out that Mayoko. And now it is Suzuya's turn. So that was, you know, a tier 6. Now we're gonna get on a tier 7. 2 Citadels right off the bat. Let's go. Now keep in mind, this is not a gun build, this is not any kind of added stats to the guns, to the other than range, to the AP. And just look what it's doing to this tier 7, like, goodbye, get out of here. So now it's this Friesland. Our biggest concern now is this Tirpitz. But we really want to get this Friesland out of here. He's a threat to our carries, a threat to our BBs. Letting him linger and cause problems is not something we want to be doing. So we know we got this sonar. We got it running, so let's just go. We're going to push straight in. And this is what's going to cost me my ship. It's just going to leave me in a very bad position, but this is a huge play. We just took out 2 cruisers. We're about to take out their DD, and that leaves them with 3 BBs and a carrier. So if we can get this done, that leaves us in a really good position. That leaves us with our DD. That leaves us with, you know, cruisers. A cruiser, I should say. But it leaves us with an advantage. And here we go, on the Friesland. Got him on sonar. Goodbye. So that's a play that I felt comfortable with because of playing Weimar. You can see I have no HP left. That was a lot of close quarter fighting. Weimar would have done better because the higher DPM, but Weimar's a tier 7. So at tier 6, this was effective. This is gonna cost me my life, but it was worth it. We got a DD and 2 cruisers out of there. Took Bravo. And this is a game that we can win now. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna end up speeding through this to the end of the battle. But this is gonna end up being a victory. So here we go, fast forward. So while we're fast forwarding, let's just, you know, again go over what Munchen does well. Munchen lobs well. Munchen can AP well. Torps, not so much. Again, you're gonna really, those are like last resort on an ambush if somebody YOLOs off a corner. Bread and butter is gonna be lobbing from behind islands. When you learn the ship a little better, you'll learn when you can be aggressive with it, and when you can be aggressive with it, it becomes a very fun ship, just like Weimar was. Again, slightly less DPM than Weimar, but baby Weimar. And so that is going to be the end of this little fast forwarding here, so we'll take a look at the final stats here. Again, not the highest damage, but very effective in the fight. That's what we do, we like to be effective. 12 Citadels for that little short time that I was alive. Top of the team. Take care, and I'll catch y'all later. I appreciate you. Thank you.